Hello my friends and welcome back to the rabbit hole. Today's video, we are trying on some new makeup releases. We've got the Huda Mercury Retrograde palette, the new Shiseido foundation, a face palette from Juno, a terrible mascara. Whoops, spoilers. I'm going to go ahead and dive right into the Huda Mercury Retrograde eyeshadow palette today. I feel like some percentage of people probably clicked this video for this palette. So I have only used this once before. Today's video will be a second impression of this, but that was a real good first impression. So I did set the lid already with the shade Momentum, and I also had the Urban Decay Primer Potion down already. You guys seem to really like that kind of pink toned look that I did with this. I'm thinking today I'll do something a little more purple. So let's try out this Libra shade right here. So I went into Sephora to swatch this palette. Oh my goodness, if you see it in person and you like the colors, it's really hard to resist. So since we already had the sale going on, I went for it. I applied it the same night and wore it until 3:30 in the morning because it was second Halloween. Don't worry, I'll explain what second Halloween means. I was so impressed at the end of the night. I was like, how the heck did this eyeshadow palette hold up so well? No fading whatsoever. I am getting a little bit of fallout, as you can see with these mattes, and that is something I noticed the first time I used it as well. There definitely is some fallout. Fallout doesn't bother me, fading bothers me, creasing bothers me, and for some reason her shadows don't really seem to crease that badly. Then I'm going to use a tapered blending brush in the shade Hot Mess here, and we'll kind of work that into the crease. I gotta say something about Huda as a person. I'm personally very proud of her for what she's accomplished. I guess there is some amount of drama associated with her, but to me, the drama is not anything, it's not significant enough for me. The idea of her copying Beauty Bakery, I just personally don't see it. So yeah, for me personally, I'm happy to support Huda. You know, again, I think it's something that's probably harder for those of us in America to relate to, is being from a country where women don't have the same rights as men. I'm going to use the shade Vortex in the outer corner. Honestly, this is probably my least favorite shadow in the entire palette, but it's kind of the only deep one for the outer crease, so it may take me a little bit of building to get this where I want it, but we're going to make it happen. Anyway, I have a friend in the UAE, and she's told me quite a bit about what she deals with. I've just kind of been baffled by some of the limitations that she has, you know, things that we absolutely take for granted here in the United States that she is just not allowed to do. In addition to that, I was trying to ship her a package through priority mail. That was a huge hassle in the first place. But when I went into the post office to ship it, the lady looks at the clerk at the desk, looks at the package, and she says, "You're shipping to the UAE? Why don't you just ship to North Korea?" I guess in some ways I gotta admire how blunt our postal workers are. But I was just like, I'm sorry, what? And she's like, this is a very difficult country to ship to. You have to make sure you have this and this. And then I had all this paperwork I had to do. I had to certify that I wasn't sending anything religiously offensive. And let's not talk about how much it actually cost. You know, it kind of made me realize just then and there, I was like, they're kind of cut off from us in this kind of way. I mean, it's easy for me to ship to Canada, for example, but it's hard to ship to the UAE. What does that say? It's something I keep in mind for international giveaways, by the way. I gotta have $200 set aside every time I do an international giveaway because I know how much it costs to ship to that entire country. I'm going to use some of my NYX glitter glue, and I'm going to kind of focus that to the inner portion of my eyelid, and we'll go into that purple glittery shade. This shade right here, and I'm going to use the Real Techniques Instapop smaller brush to pick this up. I think this will work. I wanted to do this instead of use my fingers. That's typically how I apply Huda's shimmers. But we'll try this one out today. We'll try out this method, rather. Yeah, so 3 nights of Halloween. I didn't know we were doing that here in New Orleans. On November 1st, I wore my hat that has cat ears. You may have noticed it in my Saturday video. Yeah, that's just the hat that I wear, but people thought that I was dressed as a cat. Don't worry, it worked to my favor because, yeah, I didn't know we were doing 2 nights of Halloween, much less 3. But I guess when Halloween falls on a Thursday, at least in this city, people wear costumes all the way through Saturday. I'm not gonna complain because it was fun, but goodness gracious, y'all, I don't know how these people manage to do it. I don't know how they do it. I think I'm going to kind of do the same technique that I did for my eyeshadow on Friday night. What I had done is I used this shade right here all over my lid, and then I took this light pink and started from the inner corner and just kind of drew it into the other shadow. I'm going to do the same thing again today, but we're going to try out this really light sparkly shadow over here. Okay, so this shadow is a little bit chunky, so it's a smidge more difficult to work with than that light pink one was, but I think we're still getting it. So I did just put on eyeliner. I thought about stopping here, but I want to replicate what I did last time I used this. This shade right here, Nebula, is this gorgeous lavender silver shade, and what I did is I sprayed my little dose of colors, very tiny pencil brush. I sprayed it and then had applied it into the crease along the glittery eye. You know how you see people sometimes do those looks that look like they used glitter liner? That never works, I promise you. It looks pretty while you're looking down. The second you actually look up like a normal human being does, it gets all over your lid. However, this look didn't. It didn't when I did this. So yeah, now that I've kind of figured out the trick here, I want to replicate it. I'm going to use the Mario Badescu mist because why would you waste Fix Plus on this? It's too expensive. Tilt my head back to an uncomfortable level here and work it into the crease. My neck. Ow. Worth it. So I want to give you guys some quick second impressions at this point of this palette. I absolutely love working with it to the point that it's hard for me to find a stopping point, as you just saw. It's just so well made. The glitters are gorgeous. The mattes are definitely a step up from her rose gold palette. They are easy to work with. The only 2 that I have any difficulty with are the 2 darker colors in here. Those can be a little patchy, but they're also something where you can still work with them. As far as whether I recommend it, I mean, you have to ask yourself if this color scheme grabs you. I've passed on so many recent neutral palette releases because I just don't need any more, but for me, this really does add to my collection, some gorgeous colors, and I think it's important to ask yourself that in considering palette purchases. I know a lot of people don't like the fact that Huda puts her face on all her palettes. I mean, you can solve that. You can make it much more appealing to you personally. You know, I mean, I think that adds to it, right? Let's really quickly talk about what else is on my face. So I am wearing the Anastasia Brow Kit that I talked about in my haul video. This is a set that is $30 with a $57 value. It is so worth it to me. Oh my goodness. This brush, the brush in this kit is such a good brush if you are struggling with defining your brows. And the reason I struggle so much with this is because I have so little brow to work with. This makes it so easy. I do love dip brow. I have to admit that I do. And then this is a last step, kind of makes you know how dip brow can look a little dated at this point? This kind of revives that look so that it looks much more 2019, kind of gives you a little bit of that lifted brows look. And then for primer, I'm still using the Juno Moonshine Primer that I've talked about several times. At this point, I'm going to add a little bit more under my eyes since I did clean up some of that fallout. I absolutely love this primer for my forehead and around my eyes. The hyaluronic acid does help to smooth out any fine lines. It spreads so easily. I think it's very, very similar to using the Bobbi Brown Face Base or the Charlotte Tilbury Magic Cream. So if you want something similar to that, for, I think this is $35, they did gift me this one, but I actually begged them for a discount code. I've never asked a company for a discount code before. And then on the rest of my face, I have the Physicians Formula Spotlight Primer. This one has really grown on me. As you can see, I have the great red spot of Jupiter on my face right now. So I'm being really cautious what I put there. I could use the Juno primer, but I'm saving it for my forehead and anywhere where I have lines. This area, you know, I'll kind of use anything on this part of my face, but I really need to not aggravate that irritation right now, because that's irritation. I should tell you what I think caused it. So also, when I went into Sephora, I asked for a sample of the Fenty Hydrating Foundation. Don't get me wrong, this is actually gorgeous on the skin. It smells like a bottle of perfume in your face. I wore it 2 days in a row, and now I'm covered in spots. And this is not acne, so it didn't break me out. But I think it irritated the heck out of my skin. I'm not entirely sure that it is the foundation, for the record. The problem is fragrance can irritate the skin, and I had noticed a little red dot right there a couple days ago. It did not have this ring of inflammation around it until yesterday. So I don't know why I pushed and wore it another day, but yeah, I'm not going to wear it anymore. Definitely will not be purchasing that. It's a shame, you know? We are still going to test a new foundation in this video. This is the Shiseido Synchro Skin Self-Refreshing Foundation. I want to buy a foundation in this VIB sale. I know it's not like I need another one, but I want one anyway. I've heard a lot of good things about this, in particular from people with more mature skin, and I do have mature skin. I've had it since age 18, apparently. It's freaking annoying. What shade is this? This is 220 Linen. That looks like it should be a good match for me. This foundation actually contains 2 different SPF filters. One is titanium dioxide, which I can use with absolutely no problems. However, it does reflect some amount of light. The other one is octinoxate, which is a chemical sunscreen. I can use that one, but I don't prefer to because it isn't reef safe. So, you know, this is not a foundation that you're going to want to wear to the beach. Oh, wow. Ooh, that does spread nicely, though. Wow. It's honestly conflicting for me, though, because it's the only chemical filter that I know I can use, and we have that as a drawback. So, by the way, the reason I do my brows first is so I can come back over them with the foundation to clean up any edges. That's it. That's the reason why. So this sponge is by Ofra. My one question with it is, Ofra, why the frick is this the color of mold? Now I get to feel uneasy about whether there's mold growing on my sponge or not. I completely see why this foundation is getting so much hype. It is not emphasizing texture whatsoever. Oh my gosh, this is gorgeous on the skin. I do think the color's off. You can really see it up against my neck. That's okay. That's fine. That's fine. We're just testing stuff today. I'm gonna use some of my Estee Lauder concealer under my eyes. And I think we'll use a little bit of extra concealer to kind of try to make this look like a better match, but wow, this might be worth me getting matched in. We'll see. I want to see how it wears. So a couple of you guys asked my thoughts on the Marc Jacobs Perfecting Coconut Setting Powder. I'm going to go ahead and use that all over my face today. This is the Invisible shade. It does have a little tiny bit of a yellowish tint, so I'm hoping that will kind of help to correct the foundation's slightly off color. I'm not caring that much about my forehead right now because we're going to wear a wig today. I've been waiting for wig season. If you are a cold person like I am, I get freezing cold every winter. You got to discover wigs. It's like a hat that you can layer with another hat. You know what I'm saying? I think this powder is fine, and if you want to get the little 50% offset, great way to try it. I just probably won't buy the full size because I think I like Too Faced, Born This Way just a little more, and Marc Jacobs products are very pricey. I'm going to go back in under my eyes with that Haze shade. So this is an exciting PR package that I got from Juno. This is their brand new face palette. We've created 2 grab-and-go compacts to make that effortless, everyday, no makeup look even easier. Fall in love with our ultra-blendable pigments to highlight, contour, shimmer, and shade your look to perfection. So this should be the Cherrybomb palette. Oh my gosh, that's kind of adorable. I'm going to make some kind of a hairpiece with that. So there is the palette. That's a nice little size, and this will be a first impression. Oh, that's really cute. Okay, so let's do some initial swatches, I think. Oh, that's a stunning blush color. That reminds me a lot of NARS Orgasm, except it's a creamier texture. So I'm excited to try that one on. I'm just going to use everything in this palette today. We're starting off with the blush in here that is very pigmented, but I love a pigmented blush. Should we swatch this next to NARS Orgasm? I feel like we should. Oh, this is a very pigmented bronzer as well. I think you're going to like this more if you are a big fan of bronzer. Now that it's blended out, it's kind of looking really pretty. I'm going to use the highlighter shade next if I don't drop the palette. Oh, okay, we're not going to need to layer highlighter today. What, like you've never heard of a highlighter topper? This is my Fenty highlighting brush. It definitely applies the most highlighter out of all of my brushes. So I guess you could use a different brush if you don't want highlighter this blinding. I'm gonna go back in and blend that out just a little. I really still want to use that white glittery highlighter, but I'm gonna save it. Let's do this swatch comparison. So here's NARS Orgasm. Right there. You see how it's got that pink peachiness to it? And then the Juno next to it. Oh my goodness, you guys, look at that. I think what I'm seeing here is a little bit more of a gold color in the NARS and a little more of a champagne color in the Juno. But yeah, that's a dupe right there. And I wanted to make sure you guys know, this one is the Cherrybomb palette that is made for lighter skin tones. I'll put up a picture of the Bombshell palette, which is made for deeper skin tones. I think that's such a smart idea, and I really don't understand why brands release face palettes that are not, you know, for different skin tones, because it's never going to be a situation of a face palette suits all skin tones. This is also going to be a first impression of the Milani Highly Rated mascara. I've heard very mixed things about this mascara, but I like Milani, so I'm willing to give it a go. All right, I prime my lashes. Let's see what okay, so we have a natural bristle wand here. I feel like this is going on like a drier formula, which is good for me. I like drier formulas as they are less clumpy, but the catch is you kind of have to work them into your lashes. I feel very whelmed right now. The thing is, they're claiming that this is the ultimate 10-in-1 mascara, highly rated for a reason. Who rated it? It builds, lifts, and dramatizes for extreme volume in a single stroke for a luxurious finish. This is just a first impression, but that was not my experience at all with this. I felt like I had to keep building it up for this end look, and it's really quite underwhelming. And I do seem to be getting a little bit of flaking already, which is not what I expected from a mascara this dry. Let me look up and see if it touches. Look up, look up. You have a master's, you can figure this out, look up. All right, so it's not transferring to my brow bone, so that's good, but like it doesn't look that great, does it? I don't know, I feel like Milani has been disappointing me this year. They used to be one of my absolute favorite brands. Their new eyeshadow palettes were kind of awful. This is kind of underwhelming. I don't know. We're gonna finish with some lipstick. I'm so excited about this kit because this is another one of those holiday sets where you get basically 50% off. This is the Bobbi Brown Luxed Up Lip Duo in the shade Berries. This is 2 minis of her Luxe lipsticks. And they're gorgeous colors. You get both Desert Rose and Hibiscus. Okay, so to compare, the full size is 0.13 ounces and each of the minis are 0.08. So you're actually getting more than half of a full size in these. Look at how much product you're getting in there. And these are such pretty colors. I was actually looking on the Sephora site to see if I wanted to grab the other set. They had a red set. It's already sold out. Oh my gosh. But these are such high quality lipsticks. And I feel like, you know, the thing with Bobbi Brown is it's such a classic brand. I think that if you've grown to appreciate how well formulated and just high quality Bobbi Brown's products are, you're gonna jump at the chance to get, 50% off products. I just thought it was so interesting because people lately keep talking about how nothing sells out anymore, and that's simply not true. And this shade, by the way, is Desert Rose. Oh, it's just so pretty, so comfortable. Let's reconvene for some final thoughts. So I'm impressed with the foundation. I'm actually more impressed than I thought I would be. It's really nice. For not emphasizing texture, which my face currently has a lot of right now. Thanks, skin. So I'm impressed with that. I'm also really impressed with the face palette. It applied quite pigmented, but as you can see, it did blend out to look more natural. The eyeshadow is a given. You probably already know that I love it because I feel like I made that clear while I was applying it. The only thing that really disappointed me in this whole video is that mascara. I'm not really feeling it. Bummer. Make sure you check the description box. I will add some post-wear updates in there. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you like this video, please make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you all next time.